Good evening, everyone. Welcome along, and thank you very much for tuning in. My name's Chris Bryant, and you're listening to independent, studio-based, off-tube commentary of tonight's clash between Qatar and Switzerland on day 3 of the greatest football show on earth. With kickoff fast approaching, it's time to set the scene for this Group B opener. But first, just a quick reminder that you can, of course, follow the match with your local TV broadcaster. Well, I'm sure you'll agree that the red, white and blue touch paper of this tournament was properly lit for the first time last night with the USA's stirring victory against Paraguay. The co-hosts produced a genuinely sparkling performance as they romped to a 4-1 win in front of a jubilant and partisan crowd in Los Angeles. It's now the turn of Qatar and Switzerland to engage in a spot of California dreaming as the action heads 345 miles north to Santa Clara. As you'd expect, Switzerland are strong favourites for this one with the bookmakers to make a perfect start to what is their 6th straight appearance at this tournament. But Murat Yakin's men do seem to have a bit of an aversion to going beyond the last 16, which is where 4 of the last 5 campaigns have ended. Their exit 4 years ago was especially painful, heading home with their tails firmly between their legs after a 6-1 thrashing by Portugal. Yakin, to his credit, survived that debacle, and also, in fairness to him, he's bounced back pretty well by delivering a strong showing in Europe's continental competition in 2024, as the Swiss remained unbeaten throughout until going down on penalties to England in the quarter-finals. The current crop, well, they're a useful mix of youth and experience, and of course they're still led by the evergreen Granit Xhaka, who comes into the tournament on the back of a brilliant season that saw him help Sunderland qualify for Europe against all the odds. And with the Group B lineup completed by Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina, you imagine Switzerland will fancy their chances of advancing in top spots, particularly after those two shared the spoils in their meeting yesterday. But Qatar, well, as you'd expect, they'll have other ideas. But for them, first and foremost, this tournament is about extinguishing their own bad memories from their experiences of 4 years ago. Making their tournament debut as hosts, of course, they lost all 3 group games, scoring just once along the way. And they were actually statistically the worst team on show. But then, having qualified on merit now for the first time ever, there is plenty of upside to work with for their boss, Julen Lopetegui, for whom this is also a major personal milestone this evening. And that's because he'll belatedly make his managerial bow on this stage after being sensationally sacked by Spain just 2 days before their opening game against Portugal back in 2018, after it had emerged that he'd be joining Real Madrid after the tournament. The former West Ham and Wolves boss leads an experienced squad this time, who are reigning Asian champions, it has to be said, and they're also unique in the sense that all 26 players are actually registered to Qatari clubs. I think we can expect them to sit in this evening and frustrate Switzerland in a bid to hopefully get some joy on the counter-attack. The players are out on the pitch and the national anthems are underway, but in the meantime, let's have a little look at the team news, shall we? Starting with Switzerland, who make 3 changes to the team that drew 1-1 in their final warm-up friendly last Saturday against Australia. In come Dennis Zakaria, Ruben Vargas and Breel Mbolo, as Zeki Amdouni, Sylvain Vidmer and Johan Manzambi all have to settle for a place on the bench. Their team in full is as follows. It's Gregor Kobel in goal. We're expecting a potential formation change for Yakin this evening. He's experimented with a back 3 on several occasions over the last year or so, and that's what we think he's going to go with Zakaria operating on the right of a back 3 alongside Nico Elvedi and Manuel Akanji. And then across the midfield from left to right, Ricardo Rodriguez, Xhaka the skipper, Remo Freuler and Michel Aibischer. And then the front 3 of Vargas and Dan Ndoye behind Mbolo, who leads the line. As for Qatar, well, they make just the one change to the team that drew 0-0 with El Salvador in their last warm-up friendly last Saturday. And it's Asim Madibo who comes in, with Ahmed Fathy, the man, dropping to the bench. Here is the Qatar team in full then. In goal, it's Mahmoud Abu Nada. We're expecting Lopetegui to line up with a back four of, right to left, Ayoub Al-Oui, the captain, Boualem Kouki, alongside Pedro Miguel and Homam Al-Amin. In midfield, it's likely to be Madibo anchoring things, with Issa Lai and Yassem Gabba in front of him. Then the front three. On the right-hand side, it's Edmilson Jr. On the left, it's Qatar's undoubted star man, Akram Afif. And then we think, leading the line, Yusuf Abdurasag. Our referee this evening is Saeed Martinez, who makes a little bit of history himself as he becomes the first Honduran ever to take charge of a match in this tournament. He'll be supported by his assistants Walter Lopez and Christian Ramirez, also of Honduras, as well as the fourth official, Jamaica's O'Shane Nation. We've got an Argentinian on VAR duty this evening in the shape of Mauro Villano, and Caleb Wales of Trinidad and Tobago is his assistant. So we're rapidly closing in on kickoff now. This first game on day 3 of the tournament. It's Qatar take on Switzerland in Group B. And we're at the San Francisco Bay Arena in Santa Clara, where the temperature is pushing 27 degrees. It's midday local time. And the players are certainly in for a hot workout this afternoon, or this evening UK time, as it is a particularly warm and sunny day. Temperatures likely to advance towards the 30 degree centigrade mark as the game progresses. Looks as though it's a really good turnout as well at the stadium to watch this match between the Asian champions and Murat Yakin's Switzerland, who, as I mentioned at the top of the show, have reached the last 16 in 4 of the last 5 editions of this tournament. They have shown some pretty remarkable consistency, but after what they achieved 2 summers ago, getting to the quarterfinals against England, they certainly feel as though something similar this time is possible. Yakin has actually gone on record ahead of the tournament saying he wants to deliver the best ever showing by Switzerland in this company. And that currently stands as a quarter-final appearance, which they've done on 3 separate occasions, but the last time being all the way back in 1954 when they actually hosted the tournament. As for Qatar, well, as I mentioned, just their second appearance. I suppose you could probably say the only way is up for them. Can't really go much worse than it did last time, having been eliminated after their first 2 games, making their final match a bit of a dead rubber. But credit to them for getting through eventually on their own merit. It certainly wasn't easy after they finished in 4th place in the main qualifying section, eventually having to rely on a draw against Oman and then a hotly contested victory against the United Arab Emirates in the final phase of qualifying, in which they participated, for which they were given home advantage, somewhat controversially. UAE in particular complained very bitterly about that decision. But nevertheless, for Lopetegui now, it's a great opportunity to try and put Qatar on the map here at this tournament. And it is Qatar who get the game underway. They're playing from right to left, and it's nodded clear there. Early touch for the captain, Kouki. And now it comes here to Manuel Akanji. Midway inside his own half, central position. Rodriguez. Moving it on to the left-hand side to Ruben Vargas. Here's Akanji once more. Now Rodriguez goes long with the ball over the top. He's found Mbolo, who chests it down. Volleyed shot comes in from the edge of the area from Ndoye. That's well blocked. And then Afif collects deep inside his own half, losing out there to Ndoye, who goes down under the challenge from Afif. The two number 11s coming together there. The referee happy there was no infringement, and Qatar looked to come away, although the pass down the left-hand side is a bit of a wasteful one. And Switzerland have the ball back now with Gregor Kobel, the goalkeeper. Out Borussia Dortmund, of course, 28 years of age, and having finally displaced Jan Sommer following his retirement from the international scene back in 2024. He makes his 22nd appearance for Switzerland tonight, does Kobel. As it now comes here to Elvedi, measuring a pass up to Mbolo, who's come short to link things up, but he's lost out, and now it's Afif coming away, surging over the halfway line down the left-hand side, clipping a ball over the top that Elvedi just about gets his head on and then clears it the second time of asking. A mistake by Akanji, big chance for Qatar! Oh, and it's been spurned! It was a glorious opportunity there for Ed Milson Jr. A rare mistake from Manuel Akanji, and all of a sudden, Ed Milson Jr. found himself through on goal, and he tried to stab it between the legs of Gregor Kobel. But credit to Kobel, he stood tall and just about managed to make the save. But wow, 2 minutes on the clock and an absolutely glorious chance for Qatar to take the lead. And it would be a shock lead, you have to admit. It was Akanji just getting his feet in a bit of a tangle after Elvedi had made a bit of a hash of his attempted clearance. Oh, and Edmilson Jr. trying to just stab it between the legs there of the goalkeeper. Got a little bit lucky, Kobel. It bounced off both ankles before eventually bobbling into his arms. And that's a big, big let-off for Switzerland early on here in Santa Clara. Here's Zakaria now, just inside the Qatar half over on the right-hand side. Moves it inside to Elvedi. Here he is now in the centre circle, just a couple of yards inside the Qatar half. Rodriguez now, moving it on to Vargas, wide on the left-hand side. Dealt with well over there on the far side by Al-Oui. It looks as though it's going to be a goal kick for Qatar. Saying that, just seen that the assistant referee's flag was up. I think there was an offside there, and so Qatar will get the game back underway from a free kick just on the edge of their own area. It's wide on the right-hand side, just a yard or two closer to the touchline than the edge of the penalty area, and they've decided to launch it long, straight down the middle. Jumping there to win a header was Alamin, the left back. Nodded away by Akanji though, and then it's well tidied up by Lai. Ball played down the right-hand side is a bit of a loose one by Qatar, and Rodriguez just able to knock it back to Akanji, who plays it to his right to Nico Elvedi. Elvedi now, midway inside his own half, measures the ball in midfield to Freuler. Freuler finds a good pass down the right-hand side to Zakaria, who was on his bike. Really strong challenge there, though, by Homam Alamin, coming across and sliding in well to concede the throw-in, which Switzerland have wasted no time in taking as Zakaria gets it back from Freuler. Now it's Akanji, moving it on to Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a low drilled cross, headed up in the air and back towards his own goal there by Madibo. That's pretty easy for Abu Nada to deal with, the goalkeeper. Just plucks it out of the sky and drops it down at his feet and just edges towards the penalty spot from his 6-yard box. Qatar, as you might expect, no great rush to start bombing forward, and in the end, Abu Nada picks it up and launches it from hand, long, straight down the middle. Kanji wins the header well. Rodriguez getting there too for Switzerland, and then hacking it forward on the half volley with his right foot. The ball's going to come nicely here to Freuler, who tries to slide a pass in here to Ndoye. Great save by the goalkeeper. Oh, it was an excellent effort there by Dan Ndoye. Almost caught Abu Nada out, but he stuck out a right hand, a really strong one as well, and deflected it away from the danger zone. But lovely incisive through ball from Remo Freuler there from just on the edge of the centre circle inside the Qatar half. found Ndoye just working the inside right channel, and then Ndoye just took a touch to set himself, and then when he hit it right-footed across the goalkeeper, he dived low to his right and managed to get a good right hand on the ball. But it does look as though Dan Ndoye is going to be one of the men most likely to make something happen for Switzerland this afternoon. Of course, now representing Nottingham Forest. A bit of a tough first season in England, it has to be said, Dan Ndoye, following a big money move from Bologna last summer. Just the 2 goals in 37 appearances for Forest all told. Saying that, he is in great form for his national team, having scored 7 goals in his last 11 appearances and 3 in his last 4 too. He almost added to his tally there. It's going to be a free kick here to Qatar. And Bolo penalised for a bit of a hefty challenge on Pedro Miguel inside the centre circle. Pedro Miguel, one of the many veterans who have amassed more than a century of caps in this Qatar squad. Now, standing over the free kick is the captain, Kuki. He's looking for his attacking players to go forward. He's drilled it straight down the middle, but that's a poor piece of execution from Bualem Kuki. The ball's just bounced all the way out for the Switzerland goal kick. Lopetegui just expressing his disgust there and walking back towards his dugouts. As Switzerland now look to build from the back once more as Zakaria finds Elvedi. Elvedi bypassing Rodriguez with a clipped ball out to the left-hand side that Vargas takes down nicely. Here's Akanji once again. And now Zakaria heading towards the Qatar penalty area, driving down the right-hand side. Good challenge comes in on him, but he gets the ball back, and now he's heading towards the byline. Tries to get a cross in. Stopped in his tracks again by Alamin, who also manages to prevent the corner as well, which Qatar will be pretty happy about. At least I thought he prevented the corner. Perhaps he hasn't actually. The referee does look as though he's signalling it is going to be a corner for Switzerland. Yeah, Ricardo Rodriguez has come across to take it over on this right-hand side. So it's going to be the in-swinger with the left foot from Rodriguez, who's pretty handy in these dead ball situations. And it goes from him towards the back post. Headed partially away, only as far here as Vargas, who gathers it wide on the left-hand side. Looking to just work an angle for a cross, but some really dogged defending over there on that right-hand side for Qatar by Abdurrashaq. And now here's Afif coming away for Qatar. Into the Switzerland half. Lots of little pass down the right-hand side for Abdurrashaq, who continued his run outside Akram Afif, but poor execution by Afif, and Switzerland were able to bring it away here, and it's Granit Xhaka coming up to the halfway line now, crossing it and heading into the centre circle. Finds a little bit of space on the left foot to lay it back to Akanji, and now it's with Vargas, who's hugging the touchline over on that left-hand side in these early stages. Back again to Xhaka, 35 yards from goal. He lays it back to Elvedi. Elvedi spreads it out to the right-hand side this time to Aibisha. Aibisha combining nicely with Xhaka. Now here's Elvedi. Swiss back three in really advanced positions, all three of them. Pretty much standing midway inside the Qatar half. As now down the left-hand side is Rodriguez. Low cross from him, Ndoye! Oh, the left-footed strike from Dan Ndoye has gone sailing over the crossbar. Oh, but he could have had a couple of goals already, couldn't he? In the opening 10 minutes, the Nottingham Forest man. It was a lovely little burst down the left-hand side by Rodriguez. He got to the byline and then just drilled a low cross back towards the penalty spot, where Ndoye came onto the ball pretty much unmarked, but he just leant back as he tried to steer it towards goal with his left foot, and that was enough to send the ball sailing over Mahmoud Abunada's crossbar. And another good chance goes begging for Switzerland in these early stages. Here they come again now. Yakin's men down the left-hand side once again as Rodriguez combining with Vargas this time, who thinks about a cross left-footed, comes back inside, goes down under a challenge from Al Uido over there. I think it was actually Gabert who made the tackle. He's saying it was a dive, and he's telling the referee, Said Martinez, that it's exactly what he thinks about a particular piece of play from Vargas. I mean, the contact is pretty minimal, I would have to say, to back up Gabert's assessment. But it is going to be a free kick to Switzerland. And it's in a pretty decent position as well. It's wide on the left-hand side, just a couple of yards shy of the penalty area. And spotting the ball here is Ruben Vargas. It's more or less right on that tip of the penalty area on the right-hand side as the Qatar goalkeeper looks at it. So Vargas is going to swing it in, right-footed. A bit of in-swing, and it goes from him low. Oh, and it's an awkward one for Abu Nada, who was really grateful to gather it in the end and just fell on the ball. Then rolls it out quickly to Afif, who lifts a pass down the right-hand side, asking Abdurrazak to chase, but asking an awful lot of him in the process, and the ball just finds its way back to Gregor Kobel. Switzerland now looking to come forward again here with Zakaria, just inside his own half, wide on the right-hand side. Plays it in field to Elvedi. Akanji moving it on to Rodriguez, who's seeing plenty of the ball early on here. Vargas once more, a couple of step-overs down towards the byline, tries the left-footed cross, sliding in there to make the challenge was Al-Oui. Ball almost went out of play for a corner, but it stayed in, and Qatar now do eventually clear their lines, but it's already got a bit of a feel of anywhere will do for Qatar. 12.5 minutes in here in Santa Clara as Switzerland come forward again now. And Doi stepping in off the right flank, laying it back to Xhaka, who plays a good pass out to the right to Abisha. Abisha trying to slide a ball into Zakaria in the penalty area, who'd made a smart underlapping run there, but execution on that pass not quite up to scratch from Michel Abisha. Here comes Switzerland again. Zakaria's ball in, nod down by Mbolo. Oh, and there could be a penalty here. Yes, the referee points to the spot. It's Abu Nada who made the challenge. It was a header down from Breel and Mbolo. And there's a collision between the goalkeeper, and I think it was Granit Xhaka who was in there for Switzerland. The two of them came together, and it looked an awkward one, and I thought straight away the referee was going to point to the spot, and he did. But it was good build-up play initially down the right-hand side. There will be a VAR check here. Oh, I think it's possible, that Xhaka is offside from the nod down from Mbolo, who himself was pretty borderline offside from the Zakaria cross into the middle. And that VAR check is ongoing now, while Mahmoud Abu Nada, the Qatar keeper, just gets a little bit of treatment. He seems to have come off worse there in that clash with Granit Xhaka. But a bit of work to do here for the VAR team of Mauro Viliano and Caleb Wales. I've got no doubt the verdict to award the penalty is the right one. It was actually Freuler who came into contact with the goalkeeper. Couldn't see who it was because there was a mass of bodies around the pair of them as they were on the ground initially when the referee pointed to the spot, but it's Remo Freuler who's just been cleaned out by the goalkeeper. Juddering contact between the two of them. As I say, not much doubt at all about the actual verdict that it's a foul. It's just about whether either of the two potential offside calls are going to go in Switzerland's favour or potentially in Qatar's. I have to wait and see, but I have to admit, if Switzerland were to get a penalty and take the lead, it probably would merit it on the balance of play. As I say, I have a feeling that this one is going to be overturned. Referee now, just in consultation with his VAR, asking some of the Switzerland players to step away. And from the movement of the players here, I think that's always a bit of a telltale sign. A lot of the Switzerland players are retreating back towards the halfway line. That generally means that the decision is going to go in favour of Qatar. We'll have to wait and see, though. Referee. Well, it looks as though the decision has been made, and it is going to be a penalty to Switzerland. So that offside verdict must have been cleared up. He's also belatedly booked the goalkeeper too, has the referee, and taking the responsibility for Switzerland. Looks as though it's going to be Breel Mbolo, a man who's in such great form for the Swiss. 9 goals in his last 12 appearances for them. Now he's got the opportunity to score their first goal of this tournament from the penalty spot. Mbolo against Abu Nada. Breel Mbolo off a fairly short run-up. Now waiting the referee's whistle. Here it comes, and Mbolo scores to the goalkeeper's right. Slots it into the side netting. Absolutely emphatic strike from Breel Mbolo. It's goal number 25 for the Swiss national team for Breel Mbolo. 29 years of age now. Seems to have been around forever, doesn't he? I can still remember him bursting onto the scene as a teenager many years ago now. But he was the coolest man inside the stadium as he stepped up, kept his eyes on the goalkeeper the whole time, watched him move to the left before slotting it to the goalkeeper's right. And Breel Mbolo gives Switzerland what you have to say is a deserved lead here in this Group B opener. 10 goals for him now in his last 13 appearances for his country. 4 in his last 6 as well. He is the man in form for Switzerland, and he is the man who's got their campaign up and running. Let's see what Qatar can produce by way of a response now as they launch the kickoff straight down the centre of the park. They've won the second ball. A cross is drilled in from the right-hand side. That's volleyed away, though, by Elvedi. The ball goes out for a throw-in, which Qatar have taken quickly through Aloui. It's played long again down the right-hand side by Qatar. It's going to be collected this time by Edmilson Jr. Smart little pass inside, and then the back heel from Afif. Just got that one a bit wrong, and that allowed Rodriguez to nip in and come away for Switzerland, but he's conceded a throw-in as Ricardo Rodriguez. And Qatar have it back now with Kuki, the captain, just on the halfway line. Another ball is clipped long down the centre of the park by Qatar, and again that's meat and drink to Elvedi. He then just volleys it to his right to Zakaria. Zakaria plays it back to Kobel. Here's Akanji now, inside his own box, close to the edge of the 6-yard box, plays it back to Kobel, who decides to go long. Kuki wins the header easily. Good first touch there, and well kept in by Issa Lai. And now Afif just slows it down, plays it back to Kuki. Pedro Miguel giving it back to his central defensive partner. And then Kuki clipping a ball long down the left-hand side. That's a better piece of execution, finding Alamin. He lays it back to Akram Afif. Here's Lai now, the Senegal-born number 4 for Qatar. Got his citizenship last year after spending 5 years at the second-tier club Lusail in Qatar. As it's now launched long off the left foot of Abu Nada, who's made a bit of a hash of it in truth. It's just screwed off the outside of his boot and out of play. And Switzerland will have a throw-in just inside the Qatar half. So 20 minutes gone here in this Group B contest in Santa Clara. If you are just joining us, it's Switzerland who have taken the lead. A penalty scored by Breel Mbolo after Remo Freuler was brought down by the Qatar goalkeeper Mahmoud Abu Nada. There was a lengthy VAR check for a couple of offside verdicts that eventually went in the Swiss' favour. And Mbolo did the rest, and Switzerland might be about to go 2 up here. Oh, good save by Abu Nada. It was Zakaria who had come forward from the back and was suddenly played inside the penalty area, was through one-on-one just to the right of centre, but he drilled his shot straight at the goalkeeper, who was able to make a really solid save. But Switzerland coming on strong here now. Xhaka swings a lovely ball out to Vargas on the left-hand side. Underlapping run from Rodriguez, but Vargas doesn't use him. Instead crosses it in right-footed, but that's headed away. And then Qatar happy to settle for a throw-in. It was pretty simple stuff down that right-hand side to get Zakaria in. He just played a pass from wide on the right that Ndoye just stepped over, and then he got a return pass, did Zakaria. And for a second it looked as though Dennis Zakaria was going to score his first goal for Switzerland since all the way back in September 2019. On the back of the net in a 4-0 win against Gibraltar. Alas, it wasn't to be this time for him and for Switzerland. But they're certainly playing with a lot of menace here. And here they come again now, down the right-hand side again with Ndoye. Just takes a moment to slow things down. Finds a pass inside to Freuler. Zakaria moves it on to Ndoye once more. And here's Abisha. Plays it inside to Elvedi, who again is just taking plenty of license to stride deep into the Qatar half. Wide over on the left now with Vargas. He'll step over and go down towards the byline, and he's been floored over there. It's Jassem Gaber who's been penalised. He's been shown a yellow card as well for his troubles as the Qatar central midfielder. It's just a simple step over and push from Vargas, who's gone down pretty theatrically, it has to be said. It was just a bit of a shoulder to shoulder, I should say, coming together between Gaber and Vargas. I think Gaber, although he did give one free kick away already early in the match, he can consider himself a little bit unfortunate there to go into the notebook of Said Martinez. Nevertheless, it is going to be a free kick to Switzerland now. From this position, wide on the left, it's more or less level with the penalty spot, just a yard or two outside the penalty area, of course. It is going to be the man who won it in the first place, Ruben Vargas, who's going to deliver. Right-footed. I'd imagine this will be whipped into the 6-yard box with plenty of pace and dip. Here it comes now from Vargas, who actually has a shy at goal, but it's headed away well back there by Qatar. It's actually Gaber, the man who conceded the free kick, who redeems himself. Just heading it away from just in front of the goalkeeper. It was on target from Ruben Vargas. So Switzerland will have a corner. But before that, we are going to have the first hydration break of the afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Certainly, as I said at the top of the show, in Santa Clara, it's a pretty hot one. Out there in the middle of the day, these players. 27 degrees centigrade or so. And while we wait for the game to resume, it's just a good opportunity to remind you that you are watching an independent, or listening to, I should say, an independent studio-based off-tube commentary of Qatar versus Switzerland. And of course, you can watch all the action live with your local TV broadcaster as well. For now, we just have a little delay while the players rehydrate. It just takes, or gives us, I should say, a little moment to reflect on the opening stages that Switzerland have largely dominated, but Qatar, it has to be said, had the best chance of all probably to open the scoring with barely a couple of minutes on the clock when Ed Milson Jr. was suddenly through on goal after a bit of a mix-up between Nico Elvedi and Manuel Akanji. Just tried to prod the ball between the legs of the goalkeeper Kobel. Unfortunately for him, Kobel making a good save. And then since then, Switzerland more or less just stepping on the gas and taking control. A couple of really good chances for Dan Ndoye, the Nottingham Forest winger, unable to find the back of the net, but then Switzerland eventually awarded a penalty. of challenge on Remo Freuler by the goalkeeper, Abu Nada, who just cleaned out Remo Freuler, who was trying to pounce on a knockdown from Briel and Bolo. A cross in from the right-hand side from Zakaria. It's a lengthy delay as VAR checked out a couple of potential offside calls that could have gone against Switzerland, but he did eventually point to the spot. Briel and Bolo stepping up to score his 25th goal for Switzerland, as he wins his 87th cap for the national team. And the players are now heading back into position, and the game will resume with a corner kick for Switzerland. Previous set piece from Ruben Vargas that was headed out of danger by Yassam Gabert. It is going to be Vargas once again, given the responsibility here of taking the corner. From the left-hand side, decides to go short. Little 1-2, gets it back, lays it off to the edge of the penalty area to Rodriguez. Rodriguez's cross in. That's too close to the goalkeeper though. Abu Nada catching the ball with the minimum of fuss. And Qatar can just take a moment to reset. As Abu Nada punts it long. Header won there by Abdurrazak, but no one there to run onto it. He just flicked it on, but too much pace on the header, and it bounced very quickly through to Gregor Kobel, the Switzerland goalkeeper. And it is Murat Yakin's men now who are back in possession once more, as they have been for the vast majority of the opening 27 minutes here. There's a Kanji. Plays it to his left to Rodriguez. Here's Vargas once more. Plenty of attacks coming down the flanks for Switzerland in this opening half an hour. Just as I say that, they try and work it through the middle, but Qatar managed to cut that one out as it's hacked away by Pedro Miguel. It's going to be a free kick, I think, actually, here to Qatar. It's a foul, I think, by Elvedi. It's penalised by the referee. Qatar have a free kick just inside the centre circle, a yard or two inside the Switzerland half. Yeah, it was Elvedi who had no interest in playing the ball and just barged Abdurrazak to the ground. You can see why the referees awarded that one. As Pedro Miguel now has to take this free kick. It's clipped up and into the penalty area. Headed away there, not entirely convincingly, by Elvedi. The ball just skimming off the top of his head and going behind for a welcome corner from a Qatar perspective. Will be taken from the left-hand side. Possible offside there that I think the VAR will be looking at, particularly with these new rules for this tournament around corners. As I'm sure you've heard, VAR can get involved in the awarding of corners now. Only to take them away, though, rather than to give them. But nevertheless, Qatar have taken it, and it's been swung in from the left-hand side, and it's nodded towards goal by Issa Lai. That's just gone over the crossbar on this occasion. And there's going to be another little delay here because one of the Qatari players has gone down. I think it's Pedro Miguel, who was just looking to make a run towards the penalty spot there and has, I think, just been caught in the face. It may even have been by his teammate Issa Lai. Nevertheless, Pedro Miguel just in need of a bit of treatment. He's one of those veterans, the many veterans I mentioned earlier who are in this Qatar squad. 35 years of age now. Represents Al Sadd in the Qatari top flight. Had 30 appearances for them last season. Also recently passed that 100 cap mark as well did Pedro Miguel, as well as passing 250 appearances for his club too. He's won 6 Qatari titles with them in all. He also had a really big hand, actually, or head I should say, in Qatar being at this tournament at all, having nodded in the winner that effectively sealed their qualification with the 2-1 win against the UAE back in October. And I'm pleased to report that he is okay to continue. Back up on his feet now. Just making his way back a little bit gingerly, holding the back of his neck. The game will resume now with a goal kick for Switzerland. Kobel stands over it. She didn't keep a clean sheet for Switzerland, Gregor Kobel, until his 13th cap, would you believe? Has now picked up quite a few in recent times, 4 in the qualification campaign to be exact, in 6 appearances. Just conceded twice. That group that Switzerland had, containing Slovenia, Sweden and Kosovo. Emerged from that pretty comfortably, it has to be said. Xhaka now swings the ball over to the left-hand side. It's picked up here by Rodriguez. He lays it back to Akanji. Xhaka now just dropping into the back three and was temporarily the deepest man there for Switzerland. Now he's come forward again, and Switzerland are working it well down the left-hand side as Rodriguez tries to pounce on the ball. Sliding challenge coming in from Aloui, just to knock it out of play for a Switzerland throw, which is almost exactly level with the edge of the penalty area. They've wasted it, though, of Switzerland on this occasion, as Afif nods it back there to Madibo, who volleys clear. Only as far, though, as Zakaria. Here's Elvedi now. Lovely raking pass out to the left-hand side. Vargas just trying to nod it into the penalty area where Mbolo was lurking, but just couldn't quite get the purchase he wanted on that one, Ruben Vargas, and instead just steered the header into the grateful arms of Abu Nada, who again decides to launch long from hand. That's quickly going to come back to Qatar now as Xhaka, inside the centre circle in the Qatar half, measures a very nice pass out to the left-hand side. Here's Vargas, more step-overs now, into the penalty area, lays it back, in goes the cross, headed away well by Miguel. The little flick on only goes as far as Elvedi. And now here's Dan and Doy, wide on the right-hand side, just a yard or two outside the penalty area. Lays it back to Elvedi. Here he is again now, Nico Elvedi. Thought about a cross, thought about a shot, instead slides a pass into Ndoye, who cuts inside onto his left foot. His shot's blocked, and now Qatar look to come away, but Abdurasag losing out. And Switzerland are coming again now. Here's Xhaka, 30 yards from goal. Plays it inside to his left to Aibisha. He works it out to the left-hand side to Remo Freuler. Switzerland happy just to go through a very patient phase of build-up here as we head towards the final 10 minutes of normal time in this first half. Here's Rodriguez. Moves it inside to Elvedi. Again thinks about a shot. Will he have a dig this time? No. Finds a little prodded pass to his right to Zakaria, just outside the Qatar penalty area. It's gone all the way back to Akanji now. And here's Xhaka. Xhaka just probing, directing his troops, asking for movement in front of him. As Akanji slides a little pass into Mbolo, back to goal, turns, a little back heel from him, and Doy shoots! Well, he's gone down there. I don't think he'll be getting a penalty for it. He was always going to struggle to guide that one on target, Dan and Doy. Just crowded out by 2 or 3 purple shirts there, but it was a nice little back-heeled flick by Mbolo. And Doy just getting the contact wrong. The ball just squirting off the outside of his right foot and going harmlessly wide. It's Qatar get the game underway from the goal kick. It's launched long once more. Switzerland have it back as Rodriguez just laying it off to Akanji. Here's Aibisha now, making ground and finding a good pass out to the right-hand side to Zakaria, who's in advanced position. Here's low cross. Aloui has to deal with it there. Just right on the edge of his 6-yard box over on the right-hand side. Just deflects it behind for another corner kick to Switzerland. Zakaria certainly enjoyed getting forward from that right centre-half berth, if you like. Really been given licence by Yakin to take up advanced positions down the right-hand side, and he's already put in 3 or 4 quite teasing crosses. So there must have been an offside there in the build-up, because Qatar are actually restarting the game with a free kick just outside their own penalty area, which again has gone long from the goalkeeper. And they're going to have a free kick here now, Switzerland, for a pretty rash challenge that came in there from Madibo, pretty much on the halfway line. And Ndoye skipping past him, but Madibo sliding in and sending him tumbling to the floor. It's one of the easier decisions that the referee will have to make this afternoon. As down to the byline is Vargas. Has he overrun it? Referee, I think he's just waiting for confirmation of that from the VAR, and he gets it in the end. And it will be a goal kick to Qatar. Defensive structure and solidity was definitely a big problem for Qatar in their qualifying campaign for this tournament. They actually conceded 24 goals in the 10 fixtures of the third round of qualifying, which is widely regarded as the main round. Ended up with a -7 goal difference in that phase as well. Although they've got to sit deep in the main and frustrate Switzerland, much as we predicted, Swiss haven't had too much trouble carving open their back line, and as I say, opportunities that already gone begging from Dan and Ndoye. The scoreline certainly could have been a little bit worse for Qatar, but it remains just 1-0 in favour of Switzerland as they come down the left-hand side again with Rodriguez and Vargas combining. Rodriguez trying to stand a cross up from the byline. Another good block coming in there from Gabert. And this time the last touch did come off Ricardo Rodriguez. And the ball bouncing behind for Qatar. Goal kick. He's a bit of a war horse for Switzerland, isn't he? Ricardo Rodriguez, 33 years of age now, representing Real Betis. He's in action here again, but he's beaten in the air as Qatar look to come forward and set up camp for more than just the odd couple of seconds here and there inside the Switzerland half. Bit of an awkward one for Kobel from a back pass, who just wants to prod the ball out of play for a Qatar throw deep in Switzerland territory over on that right-hand side. They've got another throw in now, have Julen Lopetegui's men. Abdurasag leaves it for Edmilson Jr., who takes it back to Al-Oui. Here's Pedro Miguel now. Poor pass from Al-Oui this time, and Switzerland come away as Xhaka rolls a nice ball up to Ndoye. Lovely little turn from him, goes down under a challenge there. The referee penalising Al-Amin. It's a fairly cynical one from the left back. Ndoye certainly would have been away midway inside the Qatar half there with plenty of green grass to run into, if it wasn't for that ankle tap by Homam Al-Amin. Switzerland now to start again with Freuler. Xhaka moving it on to Rodriguez. Here's Vargas wide on the left-hand side now. Couple of step overs once again. Gets it back to Rodriguez. Here's Akanji, 30 yards from goal. Good pass from him. Vargas steps inside one challenge, but then loses out, and he's going to concede a free kick here. Is Ruben Vargas just pulling the shirt of Madibo. Madibo, in taking the free kick quickly, is just giving it straight back to Switzerland. Really poor there from the 29-year-old. And now here's Zakaria. Moves it out to Ndoye. Ndoye coming in field onto the left foot again. Tries to smuggle a little pass into Aibisha on the edge of the penalty area. Doesn't quite come off, but Switzerland have it back here with Granit Xhaka. Inside right channel, 35 yards from goal. Xhaka looking up, combining neatly with Aibisha. Elvedi gives it back to Granit Xhaka. Now here's Freuler, finding Ndoye on the edge of the penalty area. Elvedi just takes a moment, moves it on to Freuler. Here's Rodriguez now. Now it's Manuel Akanji, about 40 yards from goal. Central position, left-footed pass to his right finds Xhaka, who's still in that inside right spot. Cross comes in from Aebischer, and almost caught out the goalkeeper there. I'm not sure that was where Michel Aebischer wanted to put the ball. It was Xhaka who fed him in down the right-hand side. He headed towards the byline. I'm sure he was just trying to stand it up towards the back post, but instead it ended up angling towards goal, and well, Abu Nada had to be pretty sharp at his near post to repel it. He has conceded a corner though. That's the goalkeeper, which is going to be taken once again by Ruben Vargas on this right-hand side. So this time it will be the outswinger from him. In it comes. And the shot came in there from the edge of the box from Mbolo. Well blocked by Qatar though. And away comes Abdurrazak now. Going down there under a tackle from, I think it was Zakaria. And the referee has produced his notebook again. And yep, it is Dennis Zakaria, who's going to pay the price for that very cynical body check on Yusuf Abdurrazak. No complaints at all for the Monaco captain, as he goes into the referee's notebook. So we're into the final 3 minutes or so of this first half. And it's still Switzerland holding a narrow lead as Qatar once actually trying to pass it around the back, but Lai almost got in trouble. They do eventually revert to type and go long Qatar down the right-hand side. Switzerland get it back to Kobel, but he can only loft a left-footed clearance out of play for a throw into Qatar on their right-hand side. There's Pedro Miguel now. Slides a good pass up the line to Al-Oui. Now there's an opportunity here, and the shot comes in. And a good save at his near post. It was Ed Milson Jr. again for Qatar, who just taken up a little bit of space in the penalty area, and the slide rule through ball found its way to him. All of a sudden he had a sight of goal. Akanji, to be fair to him, came across well, and I think it might have got a little nick actually off the right leg of Akanji, was it? No, it was actually Zakaria making the good covering tackle. But either way, Kobel was in the right place at the right time to make the save. And Qatar, in the end, forced to settle for a corner kick, which will be taken from the right-hand side by Akram Afif. Need a bit more from him, do Qatar. Scorer of 40 international goals, coming off the back of a really good season for his club, Al Sadd as well as Akram Afif, but pretty anonymous so far. And goes the corner from him, the outswinger. It's come out as far here as Al-Amin, who makes a bit of a hash of his attempted shot from the edge of the penalty area. Qatar do still have it though, as Al-Oui decides to go long from midway inside his own half, but it's bounced all the way through to Gregor Kobel. And unfortunately, like a lot of their distribution in this opening period, just not quite been good enough from Qatar. It's Akanji now. Finds Zakaria. He plays it back inside to Elvedi, who sweeps a lovely raking pass from right to left to Ndoye. Popping up wide on that left-hand side now, Dan Ndoye. A couple of step-overs. Tries to get away from two defenders. Does so. Tries to play in a left-footed cross. Thought the ball had gone out of play for a goal kick there, but it's been kept alive. Qatar are going to have a free kick here. Rodriguez penalised for a challenge on Afif. Yeah, I mentioned before, didn't I, about Ricardo Rodriguez being one of the real veterans of this Switzerland team. He's actually, in some ways, lucky to be here at all. His mother was actually diagnosed with, or when she was 8 months pregnant, I should say, he was diagnosed with diaphragmatic hernia, which basically means that there's a defect or a hole in your diaphragm where the contents of your abdominal region tend to move up into your chest cavity, and that was something that Ricardo Rodriguez was dealing with while he was still in the womb, and doctors gave him a 50% chance of even surviving, let alone becoming an elite athlete. Here he is now on the biggest stage of them all, making his 27th tournament appearance, would you believe, for Switzerland. And he's on the ball here with a nice little layoff to Vargas. There's a shot comes in. Good save this time by Abu Nada. who was also in the right place at the right time, just as Kobel was a couple of minutes earlier. And Switzerland just looking to turn the screw here as we head into 6 additional minutes at the end of this first half. Switzerland looking to extend their lead. Here's Zakaria now. Plays the ball inside to Elvedi. Nice little take and turn on the edge of the penalty area, but doesn't quite come off in the end for Aibischer. Back here with Xhaka, who swings in a teasing ball towards Mbolo. But that was well read by Abunada, who came out and just plucked the ball off the eyebrows of Breel Mbolo. He would have been onside as well. He timed his run really nicely, the Rennes striker. Good anticipation, good goalkeeping by Mahmoud Abunada, who, concession of the penalty aside, has actually been pretty decent in this first half for Qatar, who have themselves a throw-in now. Over on the right-hand side, midway inside the Switzerland half. It's been taken back to Pedro Miguel, who tries to fizz a ball over the top, and that's a really nice ball actually from Pedro Miguel. Oh, but a poor touch from Al-Amin. Well, that just kind of sums up Qatar's first half in many ways, because it was a glorious ball over the top from Pedro Miguel down the left-hand side from the right centre-back position. So something of a crossfield ball from him. It found its way perfectly to Al-Amin, but his first touch was so heavy, it just meant that he overran it, and the ball rolled out of play for a Switzerland goal kick. Here's Rodriguez now, crossing the halfway line for Switzerland over on the left-hand side. Little pass infield to Freuler. Zakaria now finding Aibischer and making an overlapping run. Aibischer's ball into Mbolo. Mbolo back to goal, little layoff. Oh, and it's almost 2-0 right at the end of the first half there, and it's Ruben Vargas who's come so close to doubling Switzerland's lead. It was a lovely piece of build-up play down the right-hand side, and when the ball came to Vargas, he just prodded it past the near post. Abunada was there covering it. I think he may even have got a little touch on it, the goalkeeper. Certainly it's been given to Switzerland as a corner. May have been a defender back there who also got a little touch. It was hard to tell in real time. Either way, another good chance goes begging for Switzerland as they prepare to take this corner now. Vargas swinging it in from the right-hand side. Volleyed towards goal. Oh, and hacked away from the edge of the penalty area. It was bobbling around really dangerously there from a Qatar perspective. And it was an excellent piece of last-ditch defending by Pedro Miguel just to hook the ball clear. Game has been stopped anyway, though. The referee just seeing a bit of an infringement and just seeing a replay of that earlier chance for Vargas. It was actually a really smart save at his near post from Abunada, who just stuck out a left foot, managed to keep himself tall and just waited and waited, didn't commit himself, the goalkeeper. And then as the shot from Vargas came in, prodded towards the bottom corner, he just stuck out a left leg, the goalkeeper, and deflected it behind. Really, really good save again from him. And he takes the resulting free kick from that offence. It's penalised by the referee, and he goes long. And Qatar this time do pick up the second ball, and Pedro Miguel finds a pass into midfield to Madibo. Here's Al-Amin now. Wide on the left, midway inside the Switzerland half. Here's Edmilson Jr. swinging in a decent-looking ball to the far side that was looking for Afif. And Doi doing some really diligent defensive work there. Come all the way back to see off the danger there and just got his head to the ball first. He's only able to steer it behind, though. As we head towards the final 90 seconds of this first half, Qatar with a decent opportunity to bring the scores level from the corner flag over on the right-hand side here. It's Afif again, right-footed, outswinger, better ball this time. Nodded away, though, by Akanji. Qatar managed to pick it up. It's nodded down in midfield, and then eventually it's volleyed all the way back to Abunada, who collects 10 yards outside his penalty area. Launches long with the left foot down the left-hand side. Abdurisag, I should say, beaten in the air by Elvedi. The ball has come back to Qatar as Pedro Miguel prods it back to Abu Nada once again, who decides to launch it long once more, but that's meat and drink for Xhaka, who just pops it back to Elvedi. Zakaria gives it back to the Borussia Mönchengladbach man. And now here's Rodriguez, sliding a ball into the penalty area to Vargas. It's going to come here to, well, it was Freuler, I think, who just got on the end of a pass right on the edge of the penalty area. It was actually Aibischer there who had a really good opportunity to double Switzerland's lead. The goalkeeper was committed as the ball was fizzed back from the byline over on the left-hand side towards the edge of the box centrally. But Aibischer, looking for just his third goal for Switzerland in his 41st appearance, got the shot all wrong, and there were 2 or 3 Qatar defenders there in the 6-yard box to make blocks. And that is the last action of the first half. Said Martinez blows his whistle for half-time. It's been a fairly entertaining watch, actually, in Santa Clara. And it was Qatar who probably should have taken the lead barely 2 minutes into the game. There's a bit of confusion between Elvedi and Akanji, resulting in a mistake by the latter, a rare one it has to be said. Just allowed Edmilson Jr. to suddenly be through on goal, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He tried to just place it between the goalkeeper's legs, but Gregor Kobel stood tall and made a really good save to deny him. And from there, well, Switzerland certainly came on strong, really started to assert their authority on the game. A couple of really good chances for Dan and Doy, the Nottingham Forest man that went begging, before eventually Switzerland were awarded a penalty kick. The ball being swung into the middle, nodded down by Breel and Bolo, and then the goalkeeper for Qatar, Mahmoud Abu Nada, just cleaning out Remo Freuler. No doubt at all about the decision to award the penalty being the correct one, and after a bit of a delay, when they just checked for a couple of offside verdicts, Breel and Bolo stepped up to slot the penalty home into the bottom left-hand corner. And from there, Switzerland have, on the whole, looked pretty untroubled. A really good chance for Ruben Vargas. He wasn't able to convert. And then just on the stroke of half-time, also Michel Aibischer having a very good opportunity to double Switzerland's lead. Qatar also could have levelled things just before the interval. Another good chance for Edmilson Jr. that was well saved this time by Kobel again. As things stand in Group B at half-time in Santa Clara, it is Qatar 0, Switzerland 1. Take a little break for now. Make sure you tune back in 10 or 15 minutes or so, and I will bring you live coverage of the second half. But until then, it's bye-bye from me. Hello there, my name's Chris Bryant, and you're listening to live, independent, studio-based off-tube commentary of the Group B clash between Qatar and Switzerland. Quick reminder that you can, of course, watch this game live with your local TV broadcaster. If you are just getting up to speed with what's happened so far, well, let me fill you in. It's Switzerland who are in the driving seat at present, leading as they do by a solitary 0-0, and that was provided to them from the penalty spot by Briel and Bolo. The Rennes striker scoring his 25th goal for his country on the occasion of his 87th appearance. And in truth, Switzerland probably could be a couple of goals further to the good. Good chances spurned by Dan and Doy on 2 occasions. And also decent opportunity right on the stroke of half-time for both Ruben Vargas and Michel Aibischer. Qatar have generally looked to sit in and frustrate, but they have had a couple of good opportunities themselves. Both have fallen to Edmilson Jr. And on both occasions, Gregor Kobel was even to him. We are back underway in the second half in Santa Clara in the blazing early afternoon heat. And Qatar have taken the kick-off and hit it long, straight out of play, down the left-hand side. Type of kick-off routine that we're just seeing more and more of nowadays, aren't we? Switzerland get the game back underway as Zakaria takes the throw-in. Going to have a free kick to here. Switzerland. Afif penalised for a foul on Zakaria. And Switzerland are keen to get things moving now as they work it over to the left-hand side with Rodriguez finding Vargas. Vargas now, just slowing it down. Playing it back to Akanji. Here's Nico Elvedi now. He plays a pass out to the right-hand side to Ndoye. Here's Elvedi again. Now it's midway inside the Qatar half over on that right-hand side as Zakaria collects the ball. He plays it back to Elvedi. Inside the centre circle, the Borussia Mönchengladbach man pops it to his left to Manuel Akanji, who comes into this tournament on the back of a really good season on loan at Inter, winning the domestic double there. And will actually join the Nerazzurri on a permanent basis in the summer from Manchester City. And of course, he was part of that treble-winning team back in 2023. And Switzerland now have a free kick in quite a promising position down the left-hand side. Vargas just being felled and getting back to his feet now to deliver. It's a couple of yards in from the left touchline. More or less level with the edge of the penalty area, perhaps a couple of yards closer into the penalty spot than that. And as with the first half, where there's a set piece, there's Ruben Vargas, who stands over the ball. Prepares to deliver, right-footed, raises his left arm, in it goes from him towards back post, great ball in, and it's just nodded over the bar by Elvedi, who had found himself a little bit of space there. Came to him, no more than 4 or 5 yards out actually, and he's turned around and he's tried to flick it with the back of his head towards goal. I think the final touch has come off a Qatar defender, so Switzerland are going to have a corner here, which inevitably Vargas is going to take from the left-hand side. In it comes from him, towards the back post this time, fisted away by Abu Nada. That's gone all the way across the pitch to the other side, near the corner flag on the right-hand side, and it's behind for yet another corner kick to Switzerland. And Ruben Vargas jogs over to that far side to take it as Julien Lopetegui just issuing a few instructions to his team ahead of this latest set piece. They've dealt with them broadly okay so far, but here comes the latest one from Vargas. towards the edge of the 6-yard box. That's headed away by Kuki. Back to Vargas. Shot comes in left-footed. Whoa, and it's a fizzing effort there from Granit Xhaka. He thinks it's been tipped over the bar by Abu Nada. But he really got hold of that one, the Sunderland man. Oh, he's definitely got to touch the goalkeeper. And the VAR can't intervene here, as I mentioned in the first half. Can only take corners away rather than awarding them. The referee's got that one wrong there. It was a nice fingertip save by Abu Nada, because it's a really vicious shot from fully 25 or 30 yards from Granit Xhaka. It just screamed over the crossbar, but not by much. It's Qatar now. Don't make the most of their goal kick, and they've quickly presented the ball back to Switzerland. And here's Zakaria now. Moving it on to Elvedi. Akanji quickly sweeps it on to Rodriguez, who tries to slide a ball in behind to Mbolo. Vargas picks up the second ball, gets down towards the byline on the left-hand side, checks back onto the right foot. Initial attempt at a cross is blocked by Aloui. He then plays it back to Freuler. Freuler whips in a ball from the left-hand side. It's going to come here to Ndoye, who's twisting and turning and manages to squeeze a shot towards goal. Dan Ndoye. That's gone behind. Has it taken a little nick off a Qatar defender on the way? I think it has. It was a really teasing in-swinging cross from Freuler from the left-hand side. Made its way all the way through to Ndoye on the far side. The angle was against him. But actually, it's a good piece of defending by Al-Amin. Although the referee has decided the final touch did actually come off Ndoye there. And Qatar have the goal kick. Yet again, though, they've decided to go long and they've given it back to Switzerland. But this time Qatar are able to win it back, although it's a really risky back pass there that had Kuki stretching and sliding in to get it away. They've just about survived that scare, Qatar, but here comes Switzerland again now. Here's Akanji. Sweeps it from a central position out to the right-hand side to Aibisha, who combines with Ndoye. Aibisha just gets his feet in a bit of a muddle, and that allows Lai to step in for Qatar. They've lost it again, have Lopetegui's men, and they're going to concede a free kick here, are they? Yes, I think they are. Penalised there is Edmilson Jr. for a bit of a heavy challenge on Dan Ndoye. So it's going to be yet another set piece for Switzerland, this time from the right-hand side. Pretty similar position, actually, to the one that Vargas took from the opposite side a few moments earlier. But for once, it isn't going to be Ruben Vargas. The responsibility this time falls to Ricardo Rodriguez. Again, a couple of yards in from the touchline. And he's going to whip this one in with his left foot, is Rodriguez. Referee just marking out the 10-yard wall for Akram Afif. And just jogs into the penalty area. It's Rodriguez now. Steps up. Curls it in. Devilish ball there. Akanji was loitering. I think he got a little flick on it. Who did the final touch come off there? Well, Kuki, the Qatar captain, is saying that he got a shove from Akanji, but he's actually got his left arm wrapped around Manuel Akanji there as Boualem Kuki. The final touch did come off his head. So it's another corner to Switzerland here. Again, it's Rodriguez from the right-hand side. In it goes towards the back post. That's headed away by Pedro Miguel. Only as far as Vargas, who lets the ball run past him and out of play. Switzerland have a throw-in now. Still deep inside Qatar territory. This time on the left-hand side. And Vargas taking a long run up and launching the ball in, getting some good distance there. It's nodded down. Afif beaten to the ball there by Xhaka. Trying to come away for Qatar now as Edmilson, and then in the end it's hacked clear. It's actually turned out to be a half-decent ball, but Abdurrazak, who's been pretty isolated in this game, unable once again to collect the ball, and in the end Elvedi can just roll it back to Kobel. Quickly plays it back to his centre half. And now here's Dennis Zakaria. Midway inside his own half, just right of centre. Just slowing it down for the moment. The Monaco man. Ambling forward now to the edge of the centre circle. And playing it to his right, where Granit Xhaka just popping up in a wide position over there on that right-hand side. Zakaria now clipping a ball over to the left, where Rodriguez controls well and lays back to Elvedi. And Zakaria, under a bit of pressure this time from Abdurrazak, decides to play it back to Kobel. Kobel's pass into midfield to Xhaka, who quickly gives it back to the goalkeeper. His clearance is flicked on by Ndoye, looking for Mbolo. That's well dealt with over there by Aloui, who then gets a little bit too close to the touchline, has to slide in to try and push a pass up the line, which doesn't quite come off. Now Xhaka has it for Switzerland. Little back heel to Elvedi. Now here's Akanji, just at walking pace for a moment, finding Freuler. Here's Vargas now, midway inside the Qatar half, wide on the left. Jinking and turning and shifting the ball inside onto his right foot and finding Freuler once more. Moved on by Akanji to Xhaka. Xhaka's pass, though, was just a little bit too heavy. And the ball eventually just rolls out of play. And Qatar will have a throw-in, which is more or less level with the edge of their own penalty area over on that left-hand side. Ball is in the hands of Homam Alamim. His throw is a bit of a poor one, though. It's immediately back with Switzerland, with Zakaria, who finds Akanji on the halfway line. Akanji now, a bit of space in front of him to move into if he wants to. Again, no great rush. Manuel Akanji plays it to his right, though, to Zakaria. Now here's Ibisha, bit of space for a cross, swings it in right-footed, nodded away by Pedro Miguel, tidied up well by Madibo. And now here's Afif, playing a ball down the right-hand side, looking for the run of Abdurrazak, but again, just eased out of it by Manuel Akanji. And he's really had scraps to feast on so far, hasn't he, Yusuf Abdurrazak? As Switzerland look to get Vargas away down the left-hand side, although the pass is asking quite a lot of him, and he just manages to get to it before it reaches the byline, but can only volley it out of play. Deep inside Qatar territory, over on that right-hand side. And Al-Oui takes the throw-in. Headed back towards the Qatar danger zone by Freuler. Here's Ndoye, who just dallied on the ball, and that allowed Qatar to step in and come away. And looking to break now, but a poor pass from Madibo, and a really promising looking counter just comes to a disappointing end. The referee could have blown for the foul on Kuki, who's definitely taken out by Dan Ndoye. Instead he chose to play the advantage. Qatar really didn't make the most of it at all, because it was a very, very poor pass in the end by Asim Madibo. Julian Lopetegui, I think, asking the referee for a booking there for Dan Ndoye. Not going to get it, though. We've just got a little delay here now as we prepare to see the first substitutions of this game. I can see Karim Boudiaf down there, limbering up alongside Ahmed Fati. In the meantime, actually, the game does continue, and Switzerland have the ball here with Elvedi just inside the Qatar half. Played a little 1-2 with Xhaka there, and Elvedi swings a nice pass out to the right-hand side to Zakaria, tries a low cross, that's well blocked, and away come Qatar now with Abdurrazak looking for support, gets it belatedly from Afif, but Abdurrazak couldn't find the pass down the left-hand side. And here comes Xhaka now for Switzerland. Crosses the halfway line, finds Rodriguez to his left. Rodriguez teasing low ball. That's well dealt with at the front post by Kuki. The clearance only goes as far as Rodriguez once more. Xhaka giving it back to Ricardo Rodriguez. Another attempted cross by him that's headed behind this time by Al-Oui. And Switzerland will have a corner here. I think it's actually going to be a triple change for Qatar when we do get to it. You can also see Ahmed Alaeldin down there, preparing to come on. First, Qatar are going to have to defend this latest Ruben Vargas corner. From the left-hand side, in it goes from him. Decent ball. Abunada came and wasn't entirely convincing. Then it's hooked further clear by Qatar. I think now we will have these changes. As I say, Boudiaf coming on alongside Fatih and Ala Eldin. Let's see who Lopetegui is deciding to withdraw. Looks as though Jassem Gaber is going to be the first man to make way for them. He comes off. You'd imagine he'll be replaced directly by Ahmed Fatih. Like for like change, that one. Looks as though Abdurasag and Aloui are going to be the other two to come off. So let's see if this prompts a change in formation from Julen Lopetegui. Certainly needs to do something here, doesn't he, the Spanish manager? Because 15 minutes gone in this second half as the clock ticks on to the hour mark. Qatar haven't really laid a glove on Switzerland as they launch the ball forward now. It's cut out well by Elvedi. Early touch there for Al Eldin, one of the substitutes. And then it's won by Madibo, who gets it back there to Lai. And now it's back with Abunada. He decides to go short this time. Here's Madibo in the D just outside his own penalty area. Qatar, for once, just looking to be a bit more patient with their build-up rather than just whacking it long at the first available opportunity. Now here's Kuki. Looks to have moved possibly over to the right-hand side. First touch now too for Boudiaf. Slides a decent pass into Afif. His layoff finds Fatih. There's a decent-looking ball down the left-hand side. A little bit too heavy in the end, actually, for Amin. Al-Amin, and Kobel was on his toes and came right out to the edge of his penalty area and just collected it, picked it up with both hands as it bounced into his penalty area. There's a Kanji now. Clips the ball out to the left-hand side to Rodriguez, who does well under pressure to volley it onto Vargas. Vargas looks to step inside two Qatari players, does so, wants a free kick, but isn't going to get one. Wins it back well, though, does Vargas, and he's into the penalty area here. He's gone down again, Vargas, and I think this time he is going to get the free kick. He's just surrounded by a swathe of purple shirts there, Ruben Vargas, and credit to him. He somehow managed to skip between Pedro Miguel and Ahmed Fatih, and then Kuki came to join the party as well. It's hard to see who got the final touch on Ruben Vargas, but it was either Kuki or Fatih who sent him sprawling to the turf. And so Qatar finding themselves needing to defend yet another set piece. This one probably in the best position yet in terms of the free kicks they've had in this second half, Switzerland. It's only a yard or two outside the penalty area on that left-hand side. Almost exactly perpendicular to the penalty spot. And Vargas takes it short. Rodriguez measures it into the box. That's smuggled away by Qatar. Comes back to Elvedi, who chests down and hooks it high back into the box. Brought down well by Ndoye. Suspicion of offside against Dan Ndoye there, but the game continues. He's been forced out to the right-hand side as Ndoye, but Switzerland keep possession for now. Here's Rodriguez inside the centre circle in the Qatar half. Now it's going to come here to Xhaka. Rodriguez once more. Clips a flighted ball out to the right-hand side looking for Zakaria, who chests down, but then just loses out in a battle against Edmilson Jr. Then volleyed away by Lai. Helped on its way by Ala Eldin. It's going to come here to Qatar, deep inside their own half. As Lai makes a good pass over to the left-hand side. Al-Amin under a bit of pressure from Aibisha, and just clip it up the left-hand side. Qatar end up conceding a throw-in. The ball bouncing off out of play off Ahmed Alaeldin. And here they come again now, Murat Yakin's men, with Elvedi. Incidentally, the XG tally currently stands at 2.32 to Switzerland versus 0.45 for Qatar. So it suggests that Switzerland haven't quite converted their clear superiority and chance creation into a bigger lead. And you'd have to say that's a pretty fair reflection of what we've seen so far. As Elvedi moves it on to his right, gets it back from Aybischer. Here's Zakaria now, level with the edge of the Qatar penalty area, right out near the touchline on that right-hand side. Does well to get down to the byline, tries to stand across up, takes a little deflection off Al-Amin, who slid in to block it. The assistant referee immediately flagged that the ball had gone behind, even though Abu Nada did actually catch the ball just in front of his near post. And so it's going to be yet another set piece for Switzerland. Corner from the right-hand side. Before that's taken, it's going to be a couple of changes for Switzerland now. You can see that Aybischer and Dan and Doy have both gone off. Coming on to replace them, it's Fabian Rieder and a very exciting youngster, Johan Manzambi. So here comes this latest corner for Switzerland now. Swung in from the right-hand side. Good piece of goalkeeping again by Abu Nada, getting two hands on it to punch it away. And Qatar trying to break away down the right-hand side. Good piece of play by Alaeldin just to keep the ball and lay it back. It's going to be a free kick here, is it? Yeah, I think there's a free kick awarded against Elvedi for an aerial challenge in midfield. So a rare moment of respite for Qatar in this second half, in truth, as ball is placed down by Madibo, pretty much on the halfway line. He gets it back from Kuki. Does look as though Qatar have changed shape here to a three at the back. Got Kuki flanked by Pedro Miguel on the right and Lai on the left, with Al-Amin playing as a left wing back. And on the right hand side, it looks as though the job is fallen to Fatih, as the ball has worked to the left hand side now for Vargas for Switzerland. Lays it back to the edge of the box. Xhaka's shot. Oh, not far away from Granit Xhaka. Would have been a pretty vintage Granit Xhaka goal as well. From 20 yards out, the ball was just rolled back to him really invitingly by Vargas. And he's curled it towards the top right-hand corner with his left foot. And it's just angled past the right-hand post and out of play. Granit Xhaka coming pretty close there to scoring his 18th goal for his country. Has actually scored twice before in this competition. Once all the way back in 2014 when he scored in a 5-2 defeat for Switzerland against France. And he also scored in a 2-1 win against Serbia 4 years later. He's been in decent goal-scoring form actually for Switzerland, Granit Xhaka. Scored 3 goals in his last 7 appearances prior to today. Coming up with goals in both of the wins against Sweden in the qualification campaign for this tournament. And as I've been talking, the players just headed over to the touchline for their second hydration break of the evening. That's just a good opportunity to take a moment to remind you that you're listening to an independent, studio-based off-tube commentary of Qatar v Switzerland in their respective Group B openers. This is a game, of course, that is available to watch for you with your local TV broadcaster. And we're now about to enter the final quarter of it. And the game, somewhat improbably, it's actually still in the balance. Switzerland still holding just a narrow advantage given to them by Bolo's first half penalty. Had plenty of opportunities to add to that lead of Murat Yakin's men, but so far Qatar just about holding out and hoping that perhaps in the final 22 minutes or so plus additional time they can just craft maybe one more golden opportunity similar to the two they managed to create for Ed Milson Jr. in the first half, both of which were well saved by Gregor Kobel. And we are almost ready to get the game back underway now. It is going to be a goal kick for Qatar after that shot from Xhaka that flashed wide. Abu Nada is looking to play this one short by the looks of it, which is stark contrast to what Qatar were trying to do for much of the first half. Just looking to get it long almost at every available opportunity. Certainly tried to approach this second period with a slightly more expansive approach. They just really struggled to get any sort of foothold in the Switzerland half at all, in truth. And Switzerland, on the whole, have been pretty comfortable to date. So we're just waiting now for Abu Nada to take this goal kick. He's placed the ball right in the centre of his goal on the edge of his 6-yard box, and he does eventually clip it left-footed to his right to Pedro Miguel, who, despite everything I was just saying, does launch it long. Good piece of play in the air from Ala Eldin. Here's Afif trying to flick the ball through to Ed Milson Jr., who's making a run towards the edge of the Switzerland penalty area, but he couldn't quite pull that pass off. And here comes Switzerland again, down the left-hand side with Vargas. Here's Freuler now. Xhaka just combining with his midfield colleague, Akanji. Moves it on to Elvedi. Elvedi sweeping it out to the left-hand side where it's collected well by Rodriguez on the stretch. Akanji, nice little turn there by Reeder. Oh, and had a shot from the edge of the box there, did Fabian Reeder. It was well blocked by Qatar, but that was a nice first involvement from the 24-year-old Fabian Reeder, wasn't it? On the edge of the penalty area, just taking the ball in, twisting away from two challenges, and suddenly it opened up nicely for him. He was right on the edge of the box. Really central position, but excellent block coming in from Qatar, just to deny Fabian Reeder what would only have been his second international goal. His only previous one coming in a 2-1 friendly win in Mexico back in June 2025, so that's a year ago. As the ball is back here now with Koba, who finds Elvedi. Here's Rodriguez now. Little pass inside to Granit Xhaka, who crosses the halfway line and rolls a pass into Reeder. He's quickly dispossessed, and now here's Afif with a little bit of space for once. Looking to take on Akanji on the outside, down the right-hand side, but Akanji, well, seeing off the threat from Akram Afif with the minimum of fuss there. Really commanding piece of defending from the Inter man. It's been a disappointing game so far, hasn't it, for Akram Afif? So much expected of him from Qatar and their fans. The man who scored 18 goals and contributed 18 assists in all competitions for Al Sadd last season domestically. Also scored 8 goals in 7 games, including a hat-trick of penalties in the final as Qatar became Asian champions in 2023, but he's just barely had a sniff today. Really well marshalled by Akanji and his colleagues back there, Elvedi and Zakaria. This is now first touch for another substitute, Manzambi, who's taken Dan and Doy's place over on that right-hand side. Here's Rodriguez now, 10 yards or so inside the Qatar half. Finds Vargas. Vargas measuring a ball infield to Freuler. Here's Zakaria now, wandering around, 35 yards from goal. Driving infield, but then just laying it back to Freuler. Manzambi manages to conjure a pass to his fellow substitute Reader, but he's seen off well. Qatar look to come away down the left-hand side. Still got it, Lopetegui's men. It's worked back eventually to Issa Lai. And then moves it on here to Kuki. Good pass under pressure from Madibo. Then it's swept out to the left-hand side. Good pass here, and Qatar have got possibilities here as they look to advance into the penalty area. Good piece of skill by Edmilson. He goes down. Still going though, Edmilson. He's got back to his feet. 3 Switzerland defenders around him. Danger not over yet for Switzerland. Shot comes in from range. And that's just gone sailing over the crossbar from Karim Boudiaf. Not a bad effort from 25 yards. It's never likely to trouble Kobel though. And Switzerland looking to get things moving quickly with the long ball up to Mbolo. And there's a great opportunity here for Vargas, who's suddenly through on goal, opens his body up. Good save again by Abu Nada. And Qatar live to fight another day for now. It's cleared away this time by Fatih. It's going to drop kindly here for Ala Eldin. Quickly surrounded by a couple of Switzerland players. Is floored by Freuler, but the referee's happy with the challenge. And the ball comes here now to Manzambi. Tall, rangy figure, looking to drive forward through the heart of the pitch. Good pass to Mbolo, stabs it towards goal with the right foot. Oh, and it's just gone past the post. Abu Nada was committed. He'd come out to meet Breel Mbolo. Mbolo, after the nice through ball from Manzambi, just showing really good sharpness just to stab it towards goal really early. But credit to Abu Nada again, who shut down the angle. And Mbolo's shot eventually just trickling harmlessly wide. He's probably been their best player today, Mahmoud Abu Nada. Qatar goalkeeper, only winning his 7th cap. Made his debut all the way back in October in a goalless draw with Oman. He's just kept the shirt pretty much ever since. Made both the warm-up friendlies against El Salvador and Republic of Ireland. That's Fatih now. Picks it up just inside the Switzerland half. Alamin finds a pass down the left-hand side to Edmilson. He does well to keep things moving, finding Fatih. Here's Kuki now. Picking up on the right-hand side, just inside the Switzerland half. Afif, quickly met by Rodriguez and has to go back to Kuki. Now, here's Madibo. Bit of space here for Boudiaf. He finds Alamin, who's got an overlapping run from Edmilson Jr., who cuts in onto his right foot, swings in across towards the back post. Oh, and lurking there, unmarked actually, was Ahmed Ala Eldin, the substitute. It's just a fraction too high for him, because Akanji had actually just switched off for a moment. He maybe didn't realise that Ala Eldin was behind him. If that cross from Edmilson Jr. had just been slightly better, he would have had a free header at goal there. Ala Eldin. Some signs of life from Qatar in the last couple of minutes. That's good to see as we approach the final 13 minutes or so. Here's Vargas now. Midway inside the Qatar half. He finds Rodriguez. Qatar retreating for now. Just happy for Switzerland to have the ball in the third between the halfway line and the Qatari final third, or defensive third I should say. And well, the strategy paying off this time as Elvedi overhits an attempted ball over the top towards Ruben Vargas. The ball goes out of play for a goal kick. So we're going to see another substitution here for Qatar. It's going to be Asim Madibo going off. And he'll be replaced by Mohamed Al-Manai, 22 years of age. Al-Shamal midfielder. He comes on for his 12th cap. A decent season actually for Al-Shamal, scoring 5 goals in 22 appearances for them. And there's a change here too for Switzerland. Ruben Vargas, who's been really busy down that left-hand side. He's come off. And in his place, it's Burnley's Zeki Amdouni, who's just recently returned from a very long spell on the sidelines with an ACL. Played in the last 4 games of the top flight season for Burnley. His start in the 1-1 draw with Austria last weekend was his first for over a year. Wasn't part of the squad at the last tournament. Does have 4 goals in his last 9 appearances for his country. And he's certainly somebody who's got that little bit of X factor that perhaps Switzerland need here just to get them over the line in this game. We're approaching the final 10 minutes of normal time now. It remains Switzerland 1, Qatar 0. Game still balanced, finally on a knife edge, as Akanji picks the ball up for Switzerland just inside his own half. Central position, finds Rodriguez. Rodriguez now playing it to his left to Amdouni, who looks to have slotted in where Vargas was operating on that left-hand side. Is generally a striker by trade, is Amdouni. As Switzerland just coughed the ball up a little bit cheaply there. Rare misplaced pass from Granit Xhaka, not finding its target. And the ball goes out of play for a Qatar throw-in. If anything's going to happen up the other end, you do feel as though Ed Milson Jr. is the man most likely to be involved. He's probably been the brightest spark for Qatar in an offensive sense. He was causing havoc again there a few moments ago. He swung in that cross from the left-hand side, having originally just tried to barrel his way into the penalty area, but having been knocked to the floor, regained his footing and managed to dig out a really good cross towards the back post, but as I say, a little bit too high for Ala Eldin. Still looking for his first international goal, actually, is Ed Milson Jr., who's born in Belgium and has a Brazilian father as well. As a shot comes in here from Manzambi. Oh, and that wasn't far away. Oh, it wasn't far away at all from Johan Manzambi. This really exciting 20-year-old from Freiburg just picked up the ball about 25 yards out there and let fly with his right foot. To be fair to Abu Nada, he launched himself across his goal, diving away to his right, and I'm pretty sure he would have had it well covered, actually. It's just a little flash of what this youngster is about, Johan Manzambi. Really high hopes for him. Expect him to be subject of a lot of transfer speculation this summer. Lots of Real Madrid, Galatasaray and Manchester United already being linked with a move for him. As Qatar get themselves in a bit of trouble again from a goal kick, and it's come now here to Manzambi once more, 20 yards from goal. Poor pass from him this time though, just allowing Al Manai to win it back for Qatar. That's been spurned, and Xhaka picks it up now for Switzerland. Here's Manzambi again. He lays it back to Akanji, who's just a yard or so inside the Qatar half, almost right on the centre spot. Here's Manzambi again, who's drifted inside from that right-hand berth for now. He plays it back once again to Akanji. Here's Xhaka now. Xhaka almost getting his feet a bit tangled there, but manages to find Manzambi. Nice little piece of skill by Amdouni. He moves it on over there to Freuler. Now here's Zakaria. Tries a low cross. Deflects back to him off Alamin. Switzerland start again with Elvedi. He plays it back wide to the right-hand side to Zakaria. Zakaria thought about the right-footed cross, but instead just recycles the ball back. He's got it back again, Zakaria from Elvedi. He gives it back to again. Now here's Manzambi. Qatar defending really deep here. 5 strung across the edge of their own box with the other 5 in front of them. The other 4, I should say, in front of them. Ball deflects back to Abu Nada, who rolls it out, bowls it out, probably more closely to the left-hand side. And there's a bit of a slack pass, and Qatar almost play themselves into trouble, get away with it this time. And they look to come away here as they seek this equaliser, and they've got a good opportunity to break here. Slide rule through ball looking for the run of Ala Eldin. A little bit too heavy for him though, and he just says, come on, calm it down. It's too heavy, and the ball rolled through to Kobel. Switzerland now looking for this killer goal. Xhaka, lovely little through ball. And Bolo twisting, turning, looking for an angle for a shot. Oh, and then, well, somehow, I think he got caught in two minds there, Breel Bolo. He could have had a shot, or he could have played a pass to his left, and in the end, he did neither and just took a bit of an odd touch with his right foot that just presented the ball straight to Abu Nada. And Qatar get away with one there. Going to have to face a throw-in, though, for Switzerland. Midway inside the Qatar half on the right-hand side. Switzerland keep pushing here for the goal that would surely clinch the 3 points. Here's Freuler. Midway inside the Qatar half still. Twisting and turning, looking for options, but again, the two banks of five just making it difficult for Switzerland to find a way through. Zakaria finds Mbolo. Good layoff from him. Manzambi's shot, left-footed block from the edge of the penalty area. Just hacked away pretty unceremoniously this time by Qatar. And Elvedi has all day just to tidy things up and get Switzerland back on the front foot as Freuler finds Xhaka. Kanji collects on the halfway line. Freuler moves it on to Elvedi. Here's Xhaka now, playing it back to Elvedi. Now, here's Manuel Akanji. Rodriguez now, still going strong down that left-hand side. Here's Amdouni, gathers it in just by the touchline and then takes a couple of touches inside and gets bundled to the floor by Pedro Miguel, who wags a finger at the referee as if to say, no, you've got that one wrong, but I'm sure the referee, Said Martinez, won't be swayed by that, and Switzerland keen to get things moving. They've taken the free kick quickly, although that's a bit of a slack pass from Zakaria that gives the ball to Qatar, and Afif makes a good pass over to the right-hand side where it's picked up by Edmilson Jr. Needs support, eventually gets it as Afif combines with Fatih. Here's Edmilson Jr. again, finds Afif. Now Fatih once more. Momentum just fizzling out of this attack a little bit for Qatar, but they do still have the ball here as Fatih gathers it in on the centre edge of the centre circle inside the Switzerland half. It's Al-Amin with a decent-looking cross in, headed away by Akanji, only as far as Afif though, just outside the penalty area, goes towards the byline, tries to cross it in, takes a little deflection. Oh, and it was angling towards the top corner there. And Kobel had to be pretty watchful just to see the ball all the way through. He was able to catch it in the end under fairly minimal pressure. And so that little flourish from Qatar just comes to an end. As we head into the final 3 minutes, they still need a goal, Julen Lopetegui's men. It's Switzerland who have the ball here as Rodriguez makes a pass up to Mbolo. Poor layoff from Mbolo that just allows Fatih to step in for Qatar. Abu Nada getting the ball and playing it short to Kuki. Kuki, though, bit of a heavy touch. He's overrun it there, and then he's slid in on Amdouni. And I suspect he's going to go into the referee's notebook. Is he here, the Qatar skipper? Perhaps he'll get away with it. Yeah, he's won the ball, but it's sort of brushed the top of the ball with his studs, and the trailing leg has come through Zeki Amdouni as well. Julen Lopetegui looks absolutely gobsmacked by that decision, but he's going to have to stomach it because the referee has awarded Switzerland a free kick. And just going to see some more substitutions now as we head into the final 2 minutes of normal time. Edmilson Jr. has gone off. He's been replaced by Qatar's all-time leading appearance maker Hassan Al-Haidos, coming on for a record 187th appearance for Qatar this evening, would you believe, the 35-year-old. Also for Switzerland, a couple of changes. Remo Freuler and Ricardo Rodriguez have gone off. They've been replaced by Ardon Jashari and also Miro Muheim. So we're back underway. Switzerland took the free kick short. And it's Muheim looking to get an early touch there. Just unable to keep the ball in play. He's slotted in on the left in that wing-back role that Rodriguez was performing in prior to that, as Miro Muheim, the Hamburg man. As Qatar look to come away here with Lai. It's moved on by Alamin to Afif. Afif tries a little pass into Ala Eldin. Ala Eldin shoots! Oh, and Kobel getting down well at his near post to make the save. Well, Qatar, over the last 15 or 20 minutes, really started to show a bit more appetite for the attacking side of the game. Didn't see a huge amount of that in the first half, or the first half of the second half, if you will. They know they need a goal here, and just starting to commit a few more numbers forward, but may just open the back door for Switzerland to seal victory in injury time. Let's see what happens, and let's see how many minutes we're going to have added on here as well. We're into the final 10 seconds of normal time. It's here now with Akanji, midway inside the Switzerland half. He goes long, and Bolo backing into Pedro Miguel, or to Lai, sorry, turns him well, plays a good pass to his right. Zakaria, low cross from him, fizzed across the face of the 6-yard box. Amdouni was there at the back post. It was just a little bit ahead of him. It was a really, really good cross in, actually, by Dennis Zakaria. Good hold-up play initially by Mbolo to create the chance. But Amdouni, whether or not he just didn't anticipate where the ball was going to go, whether he was a bit caught on his heels, I don't know. But in the end, it came to nothing for Switzerland, and the Qatar throw-in from down the corner, near the corner flag on their right-hand side, has resulted in the ball being deflected out of play and behind for a goal kick. And so Qatar will have an opportunity to get it forward once more, although they've lost out in midfield again. Ala Eldin being dispossessed. Amdouni, though, losing out. And then Al Haidos just launching it forward with a left-footed volley. That's well dealt with by Zakaria. Now here's Manzambi looking to take them all on here, but he's run into a sea of purple shirts there. And, well, Qatar looking to come forward now. Al Haidos, though, beaten to the ball. And Xhaka playing an incisive pass out to Amdouni. 20 yards out, right-footed shot. That's blocked well. And Qatar looking to win it back with Ala Eldin, but he's taken a heavy touch. And, well, Switzerland have a throw-in. We've now played a quarter of the 6 minutes that the fourth official indicated will be added on here, as Switzerland look for the goal that will finally kill off this Qatari challenge. Here they come now with Elvedi. It's Jashari finding Akanji. Here's Muheim now. Jashari once more. Left-footed pass across to Zakaria. He fizzes a ball into Reeder there on the edge of the penalty area. Reeder couldn't quite take the ball in his stride, but it has hit a Qatar defender and deflected away and out of play. And so it will be a Switzerland throw-in, and the ball is at the wrong end of the pitch as far as Qatar are concerned at this point. The throw-in is taken back to Elvedi. Nice taken turn by Jashari, who tries to clip a ball into Amdouni, who'd made a run into the penalty area, but good anticipation and goalkeeping again there by Abu Nada, who comes out and plucks it out the sky, puts it on the ground, and then drills it long up the middle, left-footed. It's chested down pretty comfortably by Muheim. But they've coughed it up here to Qatar have Switzerland. In the end, Amdouni has to make a rash challenge on Al-Manai. And Qatar have themselves a throw-in. Midway inside the Switzerland half. It's taken over there by Al Haidos. Moved on by Kuki to Lai. Kuki gets it back and, well, has to play it all the way back to Abu Nada. He then clears it out to Lai. Now here's Boudiaf coming deep to pick the ball up for Qatar. Swings the ball out to the right-hand side. Headed on well by Pedro Miguel. Trying to keep it alive. Over there was Mohamed Al-Manai. He was just shepherded and seen off by Manuel Akanji. So Switzerland will have a throw-in. It is deep inside their own half, though, on their left-hand side. Miro Muheim is going to take it. It's launched long. Kuki wins the header. Now it's come here to Alamin. He finds Afif. Midway inside the Switzerland half. They're making progress down the left-hand side. Good cross in from Alamin. Header comes in. Oh, they've done it, Qatar. Would you believe it? And it's the captain, Boualem Kuki, who's come up with what could be a hugely significant goal for Qatar. Wow, what scenes here in Santa Clara. Julen Lopetegui is the calmest man in the stadium. He sits down in the dugout and just takes a swig from a water bottle. But the Qatari contingent at this stadium go absolutely wild. It's a stunning header from Boualem Kuki right at the death. And does this mean that Switzerland are going to be made to pay for their profligacy? My, oh my. They've offered next to nothing really as attacking force in this game, Qatar. But when they made their way down the left-hand side, Afif found Alamin. His cross from the left-hand side, well, I'm telling you, you'll barely see a better cross in this entire tournament than the one just put into the box by Homam Alamin. But the bravery at the back post there. What was he doing up there in the first place, the centre-half? The old boy, 35 years of age. But when it came to him, he made no mistake at all, just planting his forehead on the ball. No chance whatsoever for Gregor Kobel. And have Qatar secured themselves a historic first ever point in this tournament? Well, there's only 30 seconds left of the 6 that were added on. Switzerland have got precious little time to respond. And it does look as though Murat Yakin is going to come away with a lot of frustrations this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world. There will be a bit more time added on, you would have thought, for the celebrations. Granit Xhaka gets the game back underway. Switzerland need to pull a rabbit out of a hat here. It's Zakaria now, coming into the Qatar half. He finds Manzambi, twisting and turning, surging down the right-hand side, into the penalty area. Low cross from him, deflects behind, and Switzerland will have a corner. They will have a corner here right at the death. I've lost count of the number of corners they've had in this game. Haven't managed to make one into anything truly worthwhile, but perhaps now, as they prepare to swing this one in from the right-hand side. Amdouni's left foot curls it in, headed away heroically there by Lai at the near post. It's back to Amdouni. In comes the cross again. It's a good one. Oh, excellent goalkeeping by Abu Nada. Shot comes in from the edge of the box there from Jashari. It was a pretty desperate one on the volley. It's gone behind, and Abu Nada is taking the plaudits from his teammates. He's taken a bit of a whack in the process there in the traffic from the corner kick. But wow, Julen Lopetegui. I said at the top of the show, didn't I? And this was a real personal milestone for him today, making his managerial bow at this tournament after that incredible sacking on the eve of the 2018 competition when he was in charge of Spain, having agreed to go to Real Madrid. But now there's a measure of vindication for him here as the final whistle goes and the Qatar players celebrate. Mahmoud Abu Nada is down on the ground. He's arguably the biggest hero aside from the goalkeeper today, aside from the goal scorer today, I should say. Abu Nada, the goalkeeper, producing an excellent display to repel wave after wave of Swiss attacks. But you have to say, Murat Yakin and his men are going to regret the chances that they've wasted here. There's tears for some of these Qatar players. What a moment for them as they pick up their first ever point on this global stage. It all started early in the first half when actually Qatar could have taken the lead through Edmilson Jr., who was played in on goal. Excellent save by Gregor Kobel. Couple of chances for Dan and Doy for Switzerland that he couldn't convert. They did eventually take the lead when they were awarded a penalty for a challenge by Abu Nada, the only blot on his copybook today, when he came out and just missed contact on the ball, instead cleaning out Remo Freuler. Breland Bolo did the rest from the penalty spot with his 25th international goal. And at that point, you're expecting Switzerland to perhaps start pulling away, certainly with Qatar not really offering anything as an attacking threat. But they just stayed in the game, Julien Lopetegui's men. And as the second half wore on, and as Switzerland spurned more and more chances, they suddenly started to grow as an attacking force. Edmilson Jr. to the fore in everything good they did in an attacking sense. But there was only about 90 seconds left on the clock as they made their way down the left-hand side. Akram Afif, who was pretty quiet really, the star man for Qatar, he found the left-back, Homam Alamin, and then he swung in an absolute peach of a cross with the left foot. And there, for some reason, was 35-year-old Boualem Kouki, the Qatar skipper, the centre-half, who had stayed forward, I think from the previous phase of play, which had been a corner to Qatar. But anyway, he was up there in the right place at the right time to plant an absolutely sensational header past Gregor Kobel. And at that point, Swiss time really was running out. It's frustration for Granit Xhaka, disappointment for Murat Yakin. The Swiss have passed up a golden opportunity to start their Group B campaign with a win. And as things stand, it is all square after the draw between Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina last night. Another 1-1 draw here in Santa Clara. But it's one that will be cherished for a long time to come, you suspect, by Qatar and their fans, because they've managed to carve out a shock 1-1 draw here against Switzerland. It's the first real upset, mini upset, however you want to describe it, of this tournament. And fair play to Julien Lopetegui and his players. They kept going until the end. They defended doggedly. And when the chance presented itself, Boualem Kouki wrote his name into Qatari football folklore to give them a share of the spoils. And that's just about it from me. It's been a really enjoyable game. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have in bringing it to you. That's just about it for now from me. I've been Chris Bryant. This has been Qatar 1, Switzerland 1. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.